It's Saturday, 11th January 2020. Thank you for making time for us on NTV Weekend Edition, live from the nation's center. The top stories. Tonight, Gatundu South Member of Parliament Moses Kuria released as state stands accused of repeated blatant defiance of court orders.
They need to be told that Kenya is not a banana republic. Kenya is a country that is governed by the rule of law.
In Accra now there is a general lethargy in our systems, and especially our security systems.
Also tonight, U.S. court hands drug trafficker Ibrahim Akasha 23 years in prison. The graft and inefficiencies of Kenya's systems are exposed.
Mahakama zetu pia hapa katika nchi yetu ya Kenya zige mfano za mahakama ile ya Amerika vile ilivyofanya.
Kenya watu wa madawa ya kulevya wakishikwa wanaachiliwa.
Ministers are becoming mini stars in the theater of politics. Cabinet secretaries increasingly politicking, and the BBI is the new platform.
Akona dribble, Uhuru akona mpira kwa miguu yake na dribble. Juzi ameangalia Musalia kidogo kumwambia twende Garissa kidogo, na nyinyi mnaanza kupiga kelele.
Any word you make, it's like an oath.
And her mother allegedly abandoned her. Now the girl is rejecting her and crying to stay with her father. Questions abound on the judiciary's decisions.
This is NTV Weekend Edition with Edmond Nyabola.
Welcome to the broadcast. Our sign language interpreter this evening is Flora Atieno. To our top story tonight, Gatundu South Member of Parliament Moses Kuria has been released from police custody after spending a night behind bars. A police bond of 20,000 shillings was paid before his release. This comes after leaders allied to Deputy President William Ruto accused the Ministry of Interior of using police officers to keep Kuria in custody. Our reporter Mel Miendo is currently working on that report. Actually, Moses Kuria having been released just a few minutes ago at about 8 p.m. or thereabout after spending last night in custody. Of course, he was arrested for allegedly assaulting a woman at Royal Media Services over the December period, and that's why he's been in custody. And these leaders who've been camping there actually accusing the Ministry of Interior and Coordination of National Government of dragging its feet in releasing Moses Kuria, coming at a time when they say there was a court order allowing him to be released on bail, I should say, and that's why we are here today. We are currently working on that report and we'll have it in a short while. Now, police in Nyali in Mombasa County have arrested 4 suspects who were found in possession of 7 grams of cocaine and 2 sachets of bang. The multi-agency team of officers working on a tip-off from members of the public raided a house hosting 2 suspects, 2 foreigners, a Swiss and a Nigerian, and 2 Kenyans in Nyali. Nyali Sub-County Police Commander Daniel Mumasaba says preliminary investigations indicate that the 2 foreigners are frequent visitors to the country. The 3 men and a woman will be arraigned at the Shanzu Law Courts on Monday to face charges of drug trafficking.
Hatutakubali vijana wetu kuharibiwa na mihadarati kwa watu binafsi ambao wanataka kujinufaisha ili waharibu watoto wa watu nao wapate kupatika utajiri ambao si halali. Tumeweka mikakati, hatutalala, hakuna mikakati, mihadarati itasikika tena Nyali.
Now, the Al-Shabaab terror group appears to be unrelenting in its attacks in northern Kenya. A police report says the militants attacked Ola police post, after which they unsuccessfully tried to destroy a Safaricom mast by spraying it with bullets. Police say the mast is intact and serviceable. Ola village is located far from the border, indicating that Shabab has moved its attacks to more interior areas. This is the first of this kind of attack in Mandera North. Police say all officers have been accounted for and nothing else was destroyed. The attackers allegedly also made their way to the police camp, where they destroyed a civilian water booster which had been lying there for the last 2 months. Let's now have a look at a bit of politics and the planned regional consultative Building Bridges Initiative fora that began yesterday have elicited different reactions among leaders in the country. Amani National Congress Party leader Musalia Mudavadi has challenged the organizers against isolating and treating certain leaders with contempt if they are genuine on the BBI process. At the same time, the National Assembly Majority Leader Edmond has repeated Deputy President William Ruto's sentiments yesterday that the BBI fora are a waste of time and money.
With 1 week remaining before the much publicized January 18th Buhungu Stadium BBI Forum in Kakamega, ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi and Ford Kenya's Moses Wetangula have accused the organizers of treating them with contempt.
Others now have taken BBI as a tool to balkanize, bastardize and confine other people to the periphery.
Let them respect everybody, including the leadership in this part of the country. Don't show contempt. Ya kujaribu kusema utakuja tu na uweke maneno na watu wakubali mara moja.
The Kakamega meeting will be the second forum after the Friday's Kisii meeting. And as the Western Kenya leaders prepare for the meeting, National Assembly Majority Leader Aden Duale has termed it a waste of time and resources. Exactly the sentiments of Deputy President William Ruto.
Going to Kisii, going to Western, going to where? That is not your function. If you want a pure parliamentary system and change the governance structure of our country, give us a break. Go collect 1 million signatures.
Some leaders feel the lack of published copies of the BBI report is disenfranchising Kenyans, even as the regional consultative fora elicit different feelings among leaders.
The Deputy President lets Raila be. I think he's giving him too much mileage. He's a citizen of this country. He can be able to hold a meeting. That was a regional meeting.
Lazima to build consensus. Wale ambayo wanasema hii ni mbaya lazima wasikizwe. Wale ambayo wanasema hii ni mzuri lazima pia wafanye nini? Wasikizwe.
There is nothing you can do to that report. The report is not in parliament. You cannot amend it. The discussion must be, if you do not like clause X, what are we going to do about it? I was expecting the task force to develop a bill.
Despite President Uhuru Kenyatta extending the term of the Building Bridges Initiative Task Force weeks ago, he has not gazetted the specific mandate of the team, though it is expected to steer the second phase of the BBI process. Vincent Odur, NTV.
And still on that subject matter, the ongoing debate on the Building Bridges Initiative report has seen politicians crisscross the country to either support or oppose the proposals in the report. And joining the growing list has been cabinet secretaries, a majority of whom have already picked sides on the debate. Now, the CSs are now accused of playing politics in clear violation of the Constitution. NTV's Silas Apollo now reports on the ministers of politics.
When the Constitution was promulgated 9 years ago, it brought about many changes, especially those on the structure of governance. Part of this was the proposal to delink the cabinet from politics, a proposal many believe would improve efficiency in the delivery of services. Now, at least 8 CSs are breaking from the norm to preach the gospel. At the center of this is CS for Interior and Coordination of National Government, Fred Matiang'i, a man whose role as Super Minister should have him busy implementing government projects. Then there are Trade CS Peter Munya, Agriculture's Mwangi Kiunjuri, Water Simon Chelugui, Eugene Wamalo of Devolution and Environment's Keriako Tobiko. For these supposed technocrats, the BBI politics is worthy of going against the spirit of the law.
Ya nani, kuna ile itatengenezwa, hiyo si kitu ya maana. Kitengenezwa hata wewe tafuta.
Sisi viongozi kila wakati sisi ndio tunaongea. Wakati umefika kwa nyinyi kuongea pia wananchi. Tulete hii ripoti kwa wards, tupeleke kwa constituency conventions ili na nyinyi mchangie mjadala huu. Wana dribble, Uhuru ako na mpira kwa miguu yake na dribble. Juzi ameangalia Musalia kidogo akamwambia twende Garissa kidogo. Na nyinyi mnaanza kupiga kelele.
But could it be that President Uhuru Kenyatta invited this mess by appointing seasoned politicians to the cabinet? In his second term, much like the first, Kenyatta appointed many more, including Q Njuri, Chelugui, Rashid Echesa, Charles Keter to the executive. Now the president's call for order in the country to allow a conducive environment for development is being disobeyed by his own executive appointees.
Any word you make, and any word you make, it's like an oath. You have made it not to the people of this country, but to God. So it is always important that we keep our word.
Already, the cabinet is split into two camps, those in support of President Uhuru Kenyatta and those in Deputy William Ruto's corner. Now, every government agenda, most of the BBI initiative and the war on graft, have been reduced to political fodder. In all this, one thing is certain: the ordinary Kenyans' wish for a smooth and uninterrupted delivery of services is abused when valuable time is spent on political podiums. Silas Apollo, NTV.
And back to our top story, and Gatundu South Member of Parliament Moses Kuria has been released from police custody after spending a night behind bars. A police bond of 20,000 shillings was paid before his release. This comes after leaders allied to Deputy President William Ruto accused the Ministry of Interior of using police officers to keep Kuria in custody, as Mel Miendo now tells us.
After spending a night in the cold of cells at Kilimani Police Station, Moses Kuria walks to freedom. The Gatundu South Member of Parliament was released on Saturday night after paying a police bond of 20,000 Kenya shillings. Kuria was arrested on Friday, accused of assaulting a woman who says the legislator landed a blow on her, sending her to the ground. His lawyers went to court and received an order seeking his release. Efforts to have Kuria released on Friday night ended in tear gas lobbed by police, leaving the Tanga politicians scampering for safety.
Unless we are careful, we are going back to the old days when people were, brought in.
Saturday morning, they were back at the Nairobi area headquarters, but found the gates locked.
I am not aware that police stations and police offices are supposed to be locked up, being a Saturday or even a Sunday. We had sought to come and see the regional police commander to understand why.
The politicians are now accusing the Ministry of Interior of using police to keep Kuria in custody.
They have not yet obeyed the court orders, because if they had obeyed the court orders, they would have released me on the bail of 50,000, which I posted yesterday. So the first thing we are going to do on Monday is to charge the police with obtaining money with false pretense, because they obtained my 50,000 on the pretense that they are going to release me. And that is a big issue, because now I have posted bail twice. Anyhow,
impunity kubwa inaanza hapa, na ile kazi Matiang'i ameonyesha polisi wetu to disregard the law. Inakaa now there is a general lethargy in our systems, and especially our security systems.
And in Gatundu South, residents took to the streets protesting the arrest of their MP.
Mheshimiwa wetu ameshikwa bila sisi watu wa Gatundu kujua.
The Interior Ministry is yet to issue a statement responding to the allegations. Mel Miendo, NTV.
Now, a U.S. court has sentenced Ibrahim Akasha, the youngest of the Akasha siblings, to 23 years in prison. The U.S. federal court in Manhattan ended the long-running saga of the Akasha brothers with severe jail terms. The Akashas have been accused of raining terror and even killing so as to protect their drug empire. Ibrahim's sentencing comes a few months after his brother Baktash was slapped with a 25-year sentence by the same court. Kevin Mutai has that story.
It is the end of an era for the Akasha's drug business after the U.S. District Judge Victor Marrero sentenced Ibrahim Akasha to 23 years in prison. Ibrahim had been detained in New York for 3 years after his extradition from Mombasa in January 2017. The Akashas confessed to a variety of crimes, including obstruction of justice. judges, prosecutors, and law enforcement officers allegedly received hundreds of thousands of dollars from the family in an attempt to prevent their extradition.
Tungeiomba mahakama zetu pia hapa katika nchi yetu ya Kenya zige mfano za mahakama ile ya Amerika vile ilivyofanya wafunga walanguzi wa madawa ya kulevya kwa muda ambao unastahiki kabisa.
US prosecutors had sought life imprisonment for the Akasha brothers. The case in the US has exposed the rot in Kenya's justice system.
Na hivi sasa tunaona serikali imelegeza kamba katika vita hivi vya madawa ya kulevya. Ni wajibu wa serikali kupambana na madawa kama haya. Ikiwa serikali imejitolea kusema yapambana na madawa ya kulevya, basi vita hivi visikome mahala tu kwamba vinaanza halafu vinafifia.
Waamerika waliona Kenya hawahukumu watu vizuri. Labda Kenya watu wa madawa ya kulevya wakishikwa wanaachiliwa. Watu wa madawa ya kulevya wakikamatwa, yasemekana madawa mara yamepotea, mtu tamuona ameshikwa amefungwa miaka 25, akikaa miaka 2 wamuona mtu huyu yuko nje.
Wajaribu kuitumia hiyo sheria kuadhibu walanguzi wa dawa za kulevya. Manake hiyo sheria imesaulika, inapeanwa adhabu hafifu sana.
Ibrahim and Baktash Akasha pleaded guilty in October 2018 to charges of conspiring to ship 99 kilograms of heroin into the United States and will be both deported once they complete serving their sentences. Kevin Mutai, NTV, Mombasa.
Now, Meru County has now become the 7th county to be hit by the invasion of desert locusts. Yesterday, the government said it would contain the situation within 14 days, but with the new swarms being reported every day, concern is growing, that this war that the country will be fighting beyond 14 days. Nayoma Sampao has that story.
Farmers in Meru are worried. Just 2 days after the county dismissed reports of desert locusts invading Igembe North, the pests have arrived. But as the farmers panic about the potential total loss of their livelihoods, the county is assuring them that the situation is under control.
I want to confirm today that indeed the locust is there. Gashuru area iko huko. But I want to assure you on behalf of the government that sasa tupigane na locust kama Meru County peke yake. We have formed a team, Meru, Tharaka Nithi, Samburu, Isiolo, and the entire region.
This means that Meru is now the 7th county to be invaded by desert locusts after Mandera, Wajir, Garissa, Isiolo, Samburu, and also Marsabit. Meanwhile, Laikipia County says it has heightened surveillance after new swarms were sighted in Kipsing in Samburu County, which is close to the border with Laikipia. But even as the country says that it is doing all it can to contain the situation, the UN is warning that the locusts are likely to be around for several months to come because they're breeding faster than imagined, making this invasion the worst in 25 years. Nayoma Sampao, NTV.
Just about 17 minutes past the hour. Let's take our first short break on NTV Weekend Edition. We still have plenty more for you, so stay with us.
Your multi-bet is on its way to hit the bullseye. Oh, you lose one match, but only in Mozart. Mozart Refund, lose one game, get your cash back. Make a decision. Terms and conditions apply. Look at this. And this. So this? Why is this so? The culture of good driving and road safety starts with attending the right driving school and receiving the right driving instructions. Now you know. AA Kenya. Register today for your driving classes. Dial *650#. For 100 years now, AA has walked with you throughout the journey. Automobile Association of Kenya. You never drive alone.
Every day, NTV News Team moves you to the center of the action.
The security forces who took part in this operation.
Police are not taking anything to chance.
Moves you to the heart of the story to witness and record history.
Rendering the declared results null
and void.
Telling the story of Kenya
The growing importance of border in Mandera.
Matatus will be on strike.
and beyond.
The politics in the United States capital.
It is the 7th edition of the Global Education taking place in Dubai.
When it comes to business, we crunch the numbers and unpack the detail with the latest information for your investment decision.
It's time to say goodbye to this note and karibu to this note.
In order for the manufacturing sector to be elevated from the ground.
Despite the government's promise to create at least 1.3 million jobs,
moves you fast past the planes and trucks to bring you the triumphs and joys of our great men and women.
Moving stories that touch our hearts. I didn't know that I could go back to school. The back to school program has brought hope to these young mothers.
NTV News. News that moves you.
Living in a trap house. What to do?
Call for an emergency meeting.
Seriously, what do you want?
Turn out.
No.
Are you serious? You know you need my vote, right? If you want to stay in power. To life ever after. Just drink. Go. Huh? Wacheza na wanaume wao wenyewe, si ndio?
I don't know what you're talking about. Please, just let me go.
Stay away from Neb.
What? You're doing this to me because of Neb? Living in a trap house.
Welcome back to NTV Weekend Edition. Now, members of the Kenya Women Teachers Association have condemned the gruesome murder of Daisy Mbaluka of Ndoni Primary School in Kitui County, who was burnt to death. They have called upon the DCI to commence investigations and take action on all those involved in the murder of the teacher. They have also threatened to stay away from their teaching duties unless the government guarantees their security.
Tunasema hata kama ni makosa yoyote, there is law. Wagenda washike yeye wapeleke polisi aende through court. The sympathizers of the criminals have now started spinning false stories about the teacher and further causing more pain to our grieving parents, children and the teaching fraternity. We'll be asking the Teacher Service Commission to declare a national day of mourning in solidarity with Teacher Desi. More so the day when she'll be laid to rest. Yes! All teachers should be ready to down their tools on that day to create awareness of the extent of femicide in this country.
Away from that, the National Environment Management Authority has shut down a Chinese quarry in Kilimambogo, Thika East Sub-County, after the residents raised complaints that it was endangering their lives. The angry residents protested a recent blast that left some houses damaged, prompting the closure of the quarry. The residents say they have been spending sleepless nights due to fears of possible blasts. This, in addition, I should say, to suffering from chest diseases allegedly caused by dust from the quarry. Police say the facility, which has been a nuisance, has been shut down 4 times before over the damages, as well as operating without the approval of the National Environment Management Authority. The quarry had temporarily been shut down in 2018 after a blast caused injuries to people and destroyed property.
The quarrying activities must be halted till when these people are ready to comply with the law, the regulations that are put in place, to avoid the damages that have been occurring now and then. The community around here has been complaining.
And a case of human-wildlife conflict ended fatally for a hippopotamus and feastfully for residents of Luero and Amerikwai villages in Busia County. The residents killed and slaughtered the animal, which they say has allegedly attacked and injured locals, as well as invaded their farms and destroyed their crops. They say they had reported the matter to the Kenya Wildlife Service, but no action has been taken, hence their decision to take matters and pangas into their own hands and killed the animal. It's time for another short breather on NTV Weekend Edition. Do stay with us because we still have plenty more stories for you, including that story we highlighted about a custody battle in Mwingi, that is in Kitui County. Stay with us.
This festive season, get a fully connected starting satellite dish for an amazing offer of only 2,999 shillings. Children can enjoy amazing cartoons on Nickelodeon, while for women, great soaps and drama on Novella E+ and Rambo TV. For men, it's Arsenal and Manchester United. You can also pay 1 month and enjoy 2 weeks free on a higher bouquet. For more information, call 0719 077 077. Star Times, enjoy digital life.
Prepare yourself for a new live bet experience. Top minute, boosted live bet odds. Mozart, make a decision.
Welcome back. Now picture this. You are stuck in traffic and fumes billow from the automobile ahead or next to you. The fumes that you inhale in that environment contain particles smaller than the width of your hair and are capable of causing serious health problems. Unless, of course, you're fitted with an oxygen tank, but how many people are? Exposure to such pollution is silently killing thousands of people, according to the United Nations, which says about 14,300 Kenyans die annually due to health conditions related to air pollution. Margaret Wanjiku tooled around the city in search of answers.
Nairobi City County for a greener and cleaner city. Words that attract one's attention as you drive or walk along Kenyatta Avenue. But this is a far cry from reality in the green city under the sun. All manner of automobiles circle around the city, leaving an atmospheric cloud of harmful smoke in their wake. The United Nations says traffic congestion accounts for up to 53% of air pollution in the city. Professor Michael Gatari is an environmental scientist at the Kenya Institute of Nuclear Science and Technology. He says the risks are many for city dwellers.
The increase of vehicles in Nairobi from the 60s to now is enormous. The emissions from motor vehicles currently in Nairobi are the major contributor of the content of particulate matter.
The emissions contain very fine particles which are invisible to the naked eye, referred to as particulate matter or PM. PMs of more than 10 micrometers can be filtered by the nose, while those below 2.5 micrometers, which are the most common in the city, cannot be filtered and go down to the lower airway. Exposure to such very fine particles is a big risk factor in Kenya. The full effect cannot be understated.
Some of the headaches, the migraine headaches you get, some of the breathing problems, people who have already got asthma even in worse cases, and probably some of the deaths which happen during the inversion periods when pollution is already closed on the ground are related to air pollution.
Aside from the high levels of concentration, Nairobi is also at a disadvantage as it suffers from inversion.
Inversion is when everything on the ground is closed and it doesn't disperse. So all the emissions from vehicles, you find sometimes you wake up in the morning and the air is too heavy because over the night the air has not been dispersed properly.
The World Health Organization has developed the Air Quality Index, which tells us how clean or polluted our air is and the associated health effects.
And what this measures is PM 2.5 and carbon dioxide. And the nice thing about this, it has a visual indicator. And the visual indicator gives you a visual idea of the level of pollution.
Nairobi City County says it has adopted this technology.
For example, we are having 3 monitors along Ruthuli, which we have had after we redesigned the road along on Ruthuli Avenue, which has really given us data.
Most city dwellers are concerned about the quality of air they breathe.
Kweli inatuadhiri sana, na ukiangalia magonjwa ambayo yanayoambukizwa kupitia kwa hewa, wengi sana wamekuwa siku hizi wakifungana kifua kwa sababu ya pollution ambayo tumeona katika mji mkuu wetu.
The government has introduced a new policy to cut the age limit for imported cars from 8 to 5 years in a bid to reduce the carbon emissions by older automobiles. This is part of Kenya's commitment to cutting its carbon footprint by 30% by the year 2050. But a tussle with the Kenya Auto Bazaar Association has left the intervention in limbo.
Even as the county government is doing its part to reduce emissions in the city, car owners can also do their part by switching off the engine when the vehicle is idling or even opting to take public transport instead of their personal vehicles. Margaret Wanjiru, NTV.
Quite a sad state of affairs there, and I guess we all have a part to play in keeping ourselves safe by keeping the environment clean. On that note, let's take another short breather on NTV Weekend Edition. We still have more stories for you, including the sports, so don't go too far.
The simple little things of the little things of life. And I promise if you take the time, you won't be looking for too long before you find this little secret of mine.
Don't go through this. PesaLink is the cheapest way to send money instantly, anytime, anywhere. Punguza stress. Tulia. Brought to you by Kenya's leading banks. Just link your phone today via your bank app or bank USSD.
Welcome back. The Registrar of the High Court has recalled the case file involving the battle for custody of a 9-year-old girl after a Mwingi Law Court handed the custody to the girl's mother. However, she is accused of abandoning the girl in a market before remarrying. The woman denies these claims and accuses the girl's father of being abusive. Eunice Omolo reports on the matter that came to the limelight after a video of the girl in a courtroom screaming in rejection of her mother went viral.
Screams of the 9-year-old pierced through the Mwingi courts. Screams of a terrified girl rejecting no less than her mother. This was soon after the senior magistrate Grace Kirugumi ruled that the minor should be handed over to her mother Josephine Kanini. The matter began in 2010 when the couple split and Kanini left with the girl. The girl's father, Eric Muyanga, says that when the minor was barely 1 year old, he received a phone call.
She left with everything we had. Then in the evening, the people who had been left with the girl were unable to find the mother. So those people called me and informed me that the mother to the girl has left with everything in the house and the girl is stranded and abandoned at the Zombe market.
Kanini allegedly abandoned the child when she remarried. However, in her sworn affidavit, she denied the allegations of abandoning her child. She claims that she left her marriage as her husband used to batter her on allegations of infidelity. She says when she got remarried, she left the baby with her sister. She accused Muyanga of forcefully taking the child from her siblings' house. In 2017, Kanini sued her ex-husband, claiming that the child is being mistreated and did not attend school. In early December 2019, the court ordered that a child's rights officer visits the girl's father's home to investigate the claims. According to court documents, the officer found the child was in good health and well taken care of. The minor was to remain in the physical custody of her father until the matter was conclusively determined. However, the reunion was cut short. Josephine Kanini raised the issue of Muyanga not handing over the child as per 12 September ruling. The court granted her full custody of the child as from 1st December 2019. The court had issued a warrant of arrest against the girl's father, Eric Muyanga, for contempt, and early this week he was arrested. On 9th January 2020, the mother was granted full physical custody until the girl attained the legal age of 18 years. Muyanga insists this will endanger the minor, whom he claims was subject to neglect and abuse by the mother.
Children's office again did not show how they can help this young girl. They again insisted that the girl should go with the mother, even after the girl refusing. So they were not ready to protect this young girl who is continuously missing school for no good reasons.
NTV reached out to Josephine for an interview on the matter, but this did not bear fruit. An attempt to reach to the children's officer in Mwingi also bore no fruit, as the officers we reached say they are not authorized to speak to media. According to the magistrate who made the ruling to have the daughter handed over to the mother, the court was guided by the best interest of the child, as it is required by Article 53(2) of the Constitution. Section 24 of the Children Act grants equal parental responsibility to the father and mother where they were both married at the time the child was born. Neither the father or the mother has a superior right to the other. After all the push and pull, court cases and traveling times, the concern remains that the girl has expressly rejected her mother but is now meant to stay with her mother. But NTV understands that an interim agreement was reached to have the girl stay with father temporarily. The case file has been recalled by the Registrar of High Court for perusal and further direction. Eunice Omolo, NTV.
This is just one of very many cases of custody battles, which is actually a very delicate subject. And as Eunice did say there, the overriding factor in court rulings should be the best interest of the child. And this is considered by looking at various issues. They include the psychological support from the parties and, of course, economic issues and other issues around that actually inform some of the decisions that are made by the court. And that remains to be, as I said earlier, a very delicate issue in the country. Now, the Kenya Wildlife Service has postponed the cleanup of the Malindi Marine Park seabed due to poor visibility. This has been occasioned by siltation caused by the floods along River Sabaki in Malindi, that's in Kilifi County. The cleanup, which is ideally done every 6 months as part of conserving the park and the marine life, will hopefully be done in about 2 months, as Martin Mwangi now tells us.
Dead vegetation, plastic bottles and discarded cups are among the items in the mounds of field of the beach at the Malindi Marine Park, a facility which is meant to be cleaned every 6 months, according to the Kenya Wildlife Service, in keeping the tourist attraction at its best.
Vile tulikuwa tumepanga mipango hiyo ikawa haikuwezekana ni kwa sababu Sabaki imeleta uchafu mwingi. Maji hayaonekani kule chini, so divers cannot be able to see very well. The visibility is poor, and so diving could not have been possible.
The stakeholders ranging from the Kenya Wildlife Service, beach operators, Kenya Police, tourism investors turned up at the Osteria beach but were forced to collect plastics along the shores of the ocean. Malindi Marine National Park and Reserve Senior Warden Jane Gitau says the cleanup is still in their agenda.
We are planning in the next 2-3 months, the water will have cleared, the visibility will be good, and so we will do that underwater cleanup.
Gitau says the protection of the marine is the responsibility of everyone. The facility was established 53 years ago as the first national park with the aim of promoting tourism, education, research, security and management. Martin Mwangi, NTV.
Let us now cross the borders, and Iran has admitted that it mistakenly shot down the Ukrainian passenger aircraft that killed 176 people on Wednesday, with the majority being Iranians. A statement by Iran's armed forces says it targeted the plane unintentionally and attributed the crash to radar activity and fear of U.S. action.
When the Ukraine International Airlines plane crashed in Tehran on Wednesday morning shortly after takeoff, authorities cited the reason as technical difficulties with the Boeing 737 aircraft. 176 people were killed, majority of whom were Iranians. 3 days later, the Iranian government has gone against its initial stand and has confessed responsibility. Iran says it unintentionally shot down the plane. The announcement was made through the Iran's official news agency, with President Hassan Rouhani stating on social media that he deeply regretted the disastrous mistake, adding that his thoughts and prayers were with the mourning families. Iranian Foreign Minister Javad Zarif also tweeted blaming the human error to U.S. adventurism, which led to the disaster. The Ukrainian Airlines Flight 752 crash came hours after Iran fired missiles at Iraqi military bases housing U.S. troops in retaliation to a drone strike at Baghdad airport that killed Iranian commander Hassim Soleimani. After the missile operation in Iraq, U.S. military flights around Iranian borders increased, and Iranian military officials reported seeing aerial targets coming toward strategic centers. This is according to a statement by Iranian Armed Forces headquarters. The statement further reads, and I quote, "The aircraft came close to a sensitive IRGC military center at an altitude and flight condition that resembled hostile targeting. Under these circumstances, the aircraft was unintentionally hit, which unfortunately resulted in death of the many Iranian and foreign nationals." End of quote. The victims included 82 Iranians, 57 Canadians, 11 Ukrainians, 10 Swedes, 4 Afghans, 3 Germans and 3 British nationals. Iran has invited the United States, Ukraine, Canada and others to join the crash investigation. Ukraine has urged the international community to participate in this, while Canada is reported to have only received 2 Iranian visas for their officials to enter Iran.
I cannot speak for the Iranian government. I think the world is watching the Iranian authorities as to the access they will be providing. As we said, we want a full and complete investigation. That's why the International Coordination and Response Group want to speak with one voice, because not only Canadians want to know in Canada, but you have families across the world, and I would say you have also Iranian families who want to know what really happened on that night.
The majority of passengers on the Ukrainian flight were Iranian-Canadian dual nationals. Mourners in Canada held a vigil for the departed as news of the plane being shot down hit them hard.
This boy is her brother. So that family lost 2 children. And this is her wife. And they were just last year they were married. They got married together. And just for 4 months they were together here.
I'm so sad. So many people, they still don't want to believe what this government is doing to them. They are just closing their eyes. Even if you offer them glasses, they don't want it to see.
The disaster is a grim echo of the 1988 shoot-down of an Iran Air jetliner hit by a missile from a U.S. Navy ship. All 290 people on board were killed.
And staying in the Middle East, Oman has sworn in a new ruler following the death of Sultan Qaboos, who passed away on Friday at the age of 79. Haytham bin Tariq, the 65-year-old cousin of the late Sultan Qaboos, who served as Oman's culture minister, has succeeded the longest-reigning leader of the modern Arab world. Haytham was sworn in after a meeting of the family, which decided to appoint him since he had been chosen by the Sultan. Sultan Qaboos was unmarried, had no children, and left no heir apparent. President Uhuru Kenyatta has sent a message of condolence to the people of the Sultanate of Oman, describing the demised leader as a visionary and a charismatic leader who was committed to transforming his country. He also described him as being committed to international peace and a hard worker in promotion of peace and stability in the Middle East. Let's take another short breather on NTV Weekend Edition. When we come back, Brian Otwal has all the day's sports. Stay with us.
APU offers international students opportunities to study at an affordable cost. APU is recognized for its commitment in offering top-notch digital technology courses. For free application services, contact our local representative or visit their offices in Nairobi and Mombasa.
Your multi-bet is on its way to hit the bullseye. Oh, you lose one match, but only in Mozart. Mozart Refund, lose one game, get your cash back. Make a decision. Terms and conditions apply.
The Wings to Fly program is unlocking the potential of young people. 1,136 bright but needy students were given the Wings to Fly scholarships in 2020 to sponsor their secondary education. Watch the story of the 2020 Wings to Fly cohort on Sunday, 12th January at 6:40 p.m. on NTV.
Living in a trap house. What to do?
Call for an emergency meeting.
Seriously, what do you want?
Turn the out.
No.
Are you serious? You know you need my vote, right? If you want to stay in power. To life ever after. Just drink. Go. Yeah? Wacheza na ume wao wenyewe, si ndio?
I don't know what you're talking about. Please, just let me go.
Stay away from Neb.
What? You're doing this to me because of Neb? Living in a trap house.
NTV Sport in association with Mozart Bet. SMS NTV to 29990.
Hello there, let's have a look at the day's sports news. Welcome, my name is Brian Otwal. Kenya continues to come to terms with the provisional suspension of former World Marathon record holder Wilson Kipsang due to doping violations. Athletic stakeholders and fans in the North Rift region have raised concerns over the rising cases of doping, with calls for more stringent action to be taken.
A day after former World Marathon record holder Wilson Kipsang was provisionally suspended by the Athletics Integrity Unit due to whereabouts failures and tampering with samples, NTV Sport efforts to reach him were futile. According to sources, the athlete had just been discharged from hospital after a week and he was not in a position to speak to the media. During the Elgeyo Marakwet cross-country, the latest doping allegations generated calls for steeper penalties.
If we are going to have a legislation that now, if you are found with evidence now, let those people be jailed. And I'm sure that's where the disconnect is.
Nataka niambie hata watu ya athlete Kenya, mnataka mjunguze hii maneno ya doping na serikali, because ukipatikana na doping ufungwe kabisa. Because sisi hatusupport maneno ya doping.
Hatutaki tukimbie, tukuje Eldoret Airport ama Nairobi Airport tushangilie mwaka mbili umetumia tao na kwa useless.
Under anti-doping regulations, athletes have to inform testing authorities of their whereabouts for a 1-hour window of every day. The London 2012 Olympic marathon bronze medalist cannot compete in any event until he receives a final decision on his case at a hearing. In a statement, his management team, Volare Sport, has stressed that Wilson Kipsang has not failed a drugs test. Lois Wangoi, NTV Sports, Eldoret.
All right, enable us to train abroad, get us international friendlies, and let us stay in camp for a longer period. These are the demands of the national women's volleyball team Malkia Strikers ahead of their return to the Olympics after a 16-year absence. And the government, through the sports PS Kirimi Kaberia, has pledged to give the Malkia Strikers the best preparations ahead of Tokyo 2020.
For 16 years, qualification to the Olympics has been a dream for different players in the national women's volleyball team. After a stellar performance by the Malkia Strikers at the African qualifiers in Cameroon, the Olympic dream has been fulfilled to great joy.
Kama captain na feel poa, cause tumejaribu kwangu mimi nimejaribu for 3 years. Hii ndio ilikuwa the 4th year, lakini nashukuru Mungu kwa kutupatia ushindi.
I'm very excited. I've waited for this moment for a long time, and it has come at the right time because I'm serving my final mandate. I celebrate. I'm also the CDM, going to Japan for Tokyo Olympics with Malkia strikers gives me a lot of pride.
This will be the third Olympics appearance for the Malkia Strikers, who featured at the 2000 Olympics in Sydney and the 2004 Olympics in Athens. Kenya, which has played a total of 10 matches at the Olympics, has so far only won one set.
As last time we played in World Cup, the results was not bad. We reached 20 to China, Japan, and these other big countries. So I believe that we can surprise if we have good preparation, more than 3 months, and maybe have international friendly matches. We can go further.
Coach Paul Bitok is the man who has delivered the Olympic dream. Since he left Rwanda last year, after a decade, he has managed to defend the African Games crown and also reassert Kenya's dominance in the continent with wins over emerging powerhouse Cameroon.
Invest kwa coaches wetu kwa sababu Africa coaches ndio tumekuwa number 1 2. Wale foreigners walikuwa wanapikania kwa number 3 number 4.
Focus now turns to preparations to ensure the dream does not turn into a nightmare.
And I do believe, as they ask, going to Tokyo, we should provide them the best preparation. We are ready for them. We are ready to provide, and we're going to work with them every step of the way.
Warote Kiru, NTV.
Some rugby, KCB whitewashed Black Blood 81-10 at the Ruaraka Den in the 10th round of the 2019-2020 Kenya Cup season and kickstart the year on a high. The defending champions converted 8 of their 13 tries and stay second in the log with 44 points, with Black Blood languishing 11th. Leaders Kabra Sugar thrashed Top Fry Nakuru 38-0 to pick a 9th win this season and 5th in a row, while Menengai Oilers maintained some pride in Nakuru with a 30-14 win over Mwamba. In other results of the day, Menengai Cream Homeboys saw off Impala 32-22 at the Jamhuri Park. Nondis beat Western Bulls 41-10 and Kenya Harlequins walloped Kisumu RFC 45-15.